Chosen ones, God gave you the hardest test of all, and you passed it the right way. You didn't just survive, you stood tall, unshaken, with a heart full of faith and a spirit that refused to break. This moment, right now, is no accident. You're here because you've walked through fire, faced storms that would have crushed others, and came out stronger, carrying a light that shines brighter than ever. God saw your resolve, your courage, and your unwavering trust in Him, and now He's preparing to pour blessings into your life that will leave the world in awe. Think about it. The trials you faced weren't random. Every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, every tear you shed, they were part of a divine test, crafted by God to shape you into the person you are today. You weren't meant to blend into the crowd or crumble under pressure. You were chosen to rise, to show the world what it means to walk in faith when the odds seem impossible. And you did it. You passed, not by fighting with anger or giving in to fear, but by trusting in God's plan, even when the path was dark and uncertain. Your test wasn't like anyone else's. Others might face challenges, but yours were different, heavier, sharper, designed to push you to the edge. Why? Because God knew you could handle it. He saw something in you that the world couldn't see, a spirit forged in His image, unbreakable, destined for greatness. When others would have turned back, you kept moving forward. When the world tried to drown you in chaos, you held fast to His promises. That's why you're here, watching this, feeling that spark in your soul that says, "This is for me." Now, let's amplify that energy. Pause this video, hit that like button, and type 777 inches the comments. That number carries divine power, a signal to the universe that you're ready to receive what God has in store. Do it now, chosen one, and let the heavens know you're standing firm in your victory. You didn't just pass a test. You rewrote what it means to overcome. Think of David facing Goliath. The world saw a boy with a sling, but God saw a king in the making. That giant wasn't just a man, it was a symbol of every fear, every doubt, every obstacle that tried to block David's path. Yet he didn't hesitate. He didn't run. He stood in faith, and with one stone, he brought down what seemed unbeatable. You're that David. Your giants, your struggles, your pain, your losses fell because you trusted God's strength over your own. The world might not understand your journey. They might look at your scars and wonder why you had to endure so much. But those scars are proof of your victory. They're not marks of defeat. They're badges of honor, etched by God Himself to show that you've been tested and found faithful. Every time you chose forgiveness over bitterness, hope over despair, faith over fear, you passed another piece of the test. And God was watching, smiling, knowing you were becoming exactly who He created you to be. Your victory isn't just for you. It's a beacon for others. When you walk through life with that unshakable peace, that quiet strength, people notice. They see something different in you, a glow, a presence that can't be explained by worldly measures. That's because your test wasn't just about surviving. It was about becoming a living testament to God's power. Your life is a story of triumph, written by His hand, meant to inspire others to keep going, to trust, to believe that they too can pass their tests. Let's make that light shine brighter. Type 777 inches the comments again, chosen one. Let it be a declaration that you're not just surviving, you're thriving, ready for the blessings God is bringing your way. Do it now and feel the energy shift as you align with His divine purpose. Your hardest test wasn't about breaking you, it was about building you. Every challenge stripped away what didn't belong: fear, doubt, pride. and left behind a core of pure faith. Think of Job, who lost everything, yet refused to curse God. His test was brutal, relentless, but it revealed a truth. His faith was stronger than his suffering. When the world expected him to give up, he held on, and God restored him, not just to what he had, but to more than he could have imagined. That's your story too. Your restoration is coming, and it's bigger than anything you've lost. The enemy thought they could stop you. They threw everything they had: temptation, betrayal, heartbreak. But you didn't fall. You stood firm, not because you're perfect, but because you leaned on God's perfection. When the devil whispered lies, you answered with truth. When darkness tried to swallow you, you became a light. That's what makes you different, chosen one. You didn't just endure the test, you transformed it into a testimony. And now, God is turning the page. You've passed the test, and the next chapter is about abundance. Not just money or things, but a life overflowing with peace, purpose, and joy. The world might measure success by what you own, but God measures it by who you're becoming. Every step you took in faith, every moment you chose to trust, was a seed planted in divine soil. Those seeds are sprouting now, ready to bloom into blessings that will change your life and touch everyone around you. Let's seal that promise. Type 777 inches the comments one more time. Let it be your way of saying, I'm ready, God. I'm ready for what's next. Do it, chosen one, and step into the flow of His favor. Your test wasn't just about you. It was about showing the world what's possible when you trust God. Think of Esther, a young woman thrust into a dangerous role. She faced a test that could have cost her life, but she didn't shrink back. She prayed, she acted, and she saved her people. Her courage wasn't just for her, it was for a nation. Your victory is like that. It's not just your story. It's a spark that can ignite faith in others, showing them that God's strength is enough to carry them through. The road you walked wasn't easy. There were moments when you felt alone, when the weight of the test seemed too heavy. But you weren't alone. God was with you, guiding you, strengthening you. Every time you thought you couldn't go on, He gave you the grace to take one more step. That's why you're here, standing in victory, not because of your own power, but because of His. Your test was the fire that refined you, and now you shine with a brilliance that can't be ignored. Others might not see it yet, but they will. The world will notice the change in you, the way you carry yourself, the peace in your eyes, the strength in your voice. You're not the same person you were before the test. You've been transformed, molded by God's hands into someone who reflects His glory. Your life is proof that no test is too hard when God is on your side. You passed, chosen one, and now the world will see what God can do through someone who trusts Him completely. Your victory is a call to action for others. Every time you share your story, every time you stand in faith, you're showing someone else that they can make it too. Your life is a living sermon, preaching God's faithfulness without saying a word. People will look at you and wonder, how did they get through that? And the answer is simple. God. He carried you, He strengthened you, and now He's lifting you up to show the world what a chosen one looks like. The test you passed wasn't the end, it's the beginning. God didn't bring you through the fire just to leave you standing still. He's preparing you for a purpose bigger than you can imagine. The skills you gained, the faith you built, the strength you discovered, they're all tools for the next season of your life. You're not just a survivor, you're a warrior, equipped to walk into the destiny God has written for you. Think of Moses, who faced test after test, exile, doubt, fear, yet led a nation to freedom. His trials weren't just obstacles, they were training for his calling. Your tests were the same. Every challenge was a lesson, every struggle a stepping stone. Now, you're ready to step into the promised land God has prepared for you, a life of purpose, impact, and abundance. The world tried to break you, but God used it to build you. And that's why you're different, chosen one. You didn't just pass the test, you passed it the right way. You didn't cheat, you didn't cut corners, you didn't give in to bitterness or despair. You walked through with faith, with grace, with a heart that stayed open to God's voice. That's what sets you apart. That's why your victory is so powerful. It's not just about what you overcame, it's about how you overcame it. Let's make this moment count. Join thousands of chosen one souls by hitting that subscribe button. Be part of a community that's standing in faith, ready to receive God's promises. And one last time, type 777 inches the comments. Let it be your final declaration that you're stepping into the victory God has for you. Your test was never about punishment, it was about preparation. God wasn't trying to hurt you, He was shaping you for something extraordinary. Every moment you felt weak, He was teaching you to rely on His strength. Every time you faced a closed door, He was guiding you to the right one. Your life is a masterpiece, painted with the colors of faith, resilience, and divine purpose. And now, the world is about to see the full picture. The enemy thought they could use your test to destroy you. They thought the weight of it would crush your spirit. But they didn't know who they were dealing with. You're not just anyone, you're a chosen one, hand-picked by God to show what happens when faith meets fire. You didn't just survive the test, you turned it into a triumph. The devil's plans backfired, and now your light shines brighter than ever, a beacon of God's power in a world that needs it. Your victory is a promise kept. God said He would never leave you, and He didn't. He said no weapon formed against you would prosper, and it didn't. Every promise He made, He fulfilled through your faith. Now, as you stand on the other side of the test, you're not just stronger, you're unstoppable. The world might not understand it yet, but they'll see it soon. Your life is a living proof of God's faithfulness, a story that will inspire generations. The test you passed wasn't just about getting through, it was about growing through. Every challenge taught you something new about yourself, about God, about the strength you carry. You learned to trust when you couldn't see the way. You learned to stand when everything around you was falling. You learned to love, even when the world gave you reasons to hate. That's why your victory is so profound. It's not just about what you did, but who you became. Your story is a ripple effect. One choice, one moment of faith, one step forward in the face of fear. It changes everything. Your victory isn't just yours. It's a spark that lights up the lives of others. People will hear your story and find the courage to face their own tests. They'll see your light and know that God is real, that His promises are true, that His strength is enough. You're not just a chosen one. You're a catalyst for change, a living testament to what God can do. The test was hard, but it wasn't the end of your story. It was the foundation. Everything you went through was building something in you, something the world can't take away. You're not defined by your struggles, you're defined by your faith. And that faith is what carried you through, what made you pass the test the right way. Now, God is opening doors no one can shut, leading you into a season of abundance, purpose, and joy. Think of Daniel in the lion's den. The world saw a man doomed to die, but God saw a faithful servant ready to shine. Daniel didn't fight the lions. He trusted God. And when the morning came, he walked out unharmed, a living proof of God's power. Your test was your lion's den, and you walked out untouched, not because you're stronger than anyone else, but because you trusted the one who is. Your victory is a declaration that God is faithful, always. The world might try to measure your worth by what you've lost or what you've gained, but God measures it by your heart. You passed his test because you kept your heart aligned with him, even when everything else was falling apart. That's what makes you a chosen one. That's what makes your story so powerful. You didn't just overcome, you became a vessel for his glory, a light that can't be dimmed. Your test was a refining fire, burning away everything that wasn't meant to stay. What's left is pure, strong, eternal. You're not the same person you were when the test began. You're wiser, bolder, more connected to God's purpose. The world might see your scars, but God sees your strength. And now, he's ready to show the world what he's been building in you all along, a life that radiates his love, his power, his glory. The enemy thought they could use your test to define you, but they were wrong. Your test didn't break you. It revealed you. Every moment you chose faith over fear, you were carving out a new path, one that leads to a destiny only God could design. You're not just a survivor. You're a conqueror, not by your own strength, but by his. Your victory is a testament to what happens when a chosen one trusts God completely. Your story isn't over. The test was just the beginning, a foundation for the incredible things God has planned. You passed it the right way, with faith, with grace, with a heart that refused to give up. Now, the heavens are aligning to bring you into a season of overflow. Doors are opening, blessings are flowing, and your life is about to become a living proof of God's promises. Keep walking, chosen one. The best is yet to come. The world might look at you and see someone who's been through too much, but God sees a masterpiece. Your test wasn't a punishment, it was a promotion. Every step you took in faith was a step toward the person you were always meant to be. You didn't just pass the test, you aced it. And now God is preparing rewards that will make every struggle worth it, every tear a seed for joy, every moment of pain a stepping stone to glory. Your victory is a call to rise. You're not meant to stay in the shadows of your past tests. You're meant to shine, to step into the light God has prepared for you. The world needs your story, your strength, your faith. You're not just a chosen one. You're a leader, a beacon, a proof that God's love never fails. Your test was hard, but your God is bigger, and he's just getting started with you. The test you faced wasn't about proving yourself to the world. It was about proving God's faithfulness to you. Every time you chose to trust, you were building a legacy, not just for yourself, but for everyone who will hear your story. Your life is a testament to what happens when a chosen one refuses to give up, when faith becomes stronger than fear, when God's promises outweigh the world's lies. You passed, and now the world will see what God can do through you. Your hardest test wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to define you. Every challenge was a brushstroke in God's masterpiece, every struggle a chapter in his story for you. You didn't just make it through. You came out radiant, transformed, ready for the next season. The world might not understand it yet, but they will. Your life is about to become a living proof of God's power, a story that will echo through generations. The enemy tried to use your test to trap you, but God used it to free you. Every moment you stood firm, you were breaking chains, not just for yourself, but for others. Your victory is a spark that can ignite hope in hearts that have given up. You're not just a chosen one. You're a movement, a living example of what happens when God's strength meets human faith. Keep shining, chosen one. Your light is changing the world. Your test was a battlefield, but you didn't fight with weapons the world knows. You fought with faith, with prayer, with a heart that refused to break. And that's why you won. Not because you were stronger than the test, but because you trusted the one who is stronger than anything. Your victory is a declaration that God is enough, always. Now, He's ready to show you what's next. A life of purpose, power, and promises fulfilled. The world might see your test as a story of struggle, but God sees it as a story of strength. You didn't just pass, you became a vessel for His glory. Every step you took, every prayer you whispered, every moment you chose to keep going, it was all building something eternal. You're not defined by what you went through. You're defined by who carried you through. And now, chosen one, the world is about to see the masterpiece God has been crafting in you. Your victory isn't just about what you overcame, it's about what you're becoming. God didn't bring you through the test to leave you where you are. He's lifting you higher into a life that reflects His glory in every way. Your faith, your resilience, your heart, they're all part of a divine plan that's unfolding now. The test was hard, but the reward is greater. Get ready, chosen one. Your breakthrough is here, and it's bigger than you can imagine. The test you passed wasn't just a moment, it was a movement. It wasn't just about you. It was about showing the world what God can do through someone who trusts Him. Your victory is a ripple, spreading hope, faith, and strength to everyone who sees you. You're not just a chosen one, you're a catalyst, a spark that lights up the darkness. Your story is proof that no test is too hard when God is by your side. The enemy thought they could use your test to dim your light, but they were wrong. Your faith turned their schemes into stepping stones. Every challenge was a chance to shine brighter, to grow stronger, to become more of who God created you to be. Now, you stand as a living testament to His power, a proof that His promises are true. Your victory isn't just yours, it's a gift to the world, a story that will inspire faith for generations. Your test was a crucible, burning away everything that wasn't meant to stay. What's left is pure, strong, eternal. You didn't just survive, you were refined, shaped into a vessel for God's glory. The world might see your scars, but God sees your strength, and now He's ready to show the world what He's been building in you, a life that radiates His love, His power, His purpose. The test wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of your legacy. Every moment you chose faith, you were laying the foundation for something greater. God didn't bring you through the fire to leave you in ashes. He brought you through to build you up, to set you on a path of purpose and power. Your victory is a promise fulfilled, a proof that God's plans for you are good, always. You passed the test the right way, chosen one, not by fighting the world's way, but by trusting God's way. Your faith turned obstacles into opportunities, pain into purpose, fear into freedom. Now, the heavens are aligning to bring you into a season of overflow. Doors no one can shut are opening. Blessings you can't contain are coming. Your life is about to become a living proof of God's faithfulness, a story that will echo through time. The world might look at your test and see struggle, but God sees strength. You didn't just pass, you became a masterpiece, shaped by His hands, ready to shine. Your victory isn't just about what you overcame, it's about who you're becoming, a chosen one, radiating His glory, walking in His purpose. The test was hard, but your God is bigger, and He's just getting started with you. Your story is a testament to what happens when faith meets fire. You didn't just survive the test. You transformed it into a triumph. The enemy's plans backfired, and now your light shines brighter than ever. You're not just a chosen one. You're a beacon, a proof that God's strength is enough. Keep walking, chosen one. The best is yet to come, and the world is watching. The test you faced was a divine setup, not a setback. God wasn't trying to break you. He was building you, preparing you for a purpose that's bigger than you can see. Every moment of struggle was a step toward greatness. Every challenge a chance to grow. You passed, not because you're perfect, but because you trusted the one who is. Now, get ready. The blessings coming your way will show the world what God can do through a faithful heart. Your victory is a spark that can light up the world. Every time you chose faith, you were planting seeds of hope, not just for yourself, but for everyone who will hear your story. You're not just a chosen one, you're a movement, a living proof that God's promises never fail. Your test was hard, but your triumph is greater. And it's only the beginning of what God has planned. The enemy thought they could use your test to trap you, but God used it to free you. Every moment you stood firm, you were breaking chains, not just for yourself, but for others. Your victory is a call to rise, a reminder that no test is too hard when God is on your side. You passed the right way, chosen one, and now the world will see the glory of what He's done in you. Your test was a fire, but it didn't consume you, it refined you. Every challenge was a brushstroke in date, God's masterpiece, every struggle a chapter in His story for you. You didn't just pass, you became a vessel for His glory, a light that can't be dimmed. The world might not understand it yet, but they will. Your life is about to become a living proof of God's power, a story that will inspire faith for generations. The test wasn't about breaking you, it was about revealing you. Every moment you chose faith, you were carving out a new path, one that leads to a destiny only God could design. You're not just a survivor, you're a conqueror, not by your own strength, but by His. Your victory is a testament to what happens when a chosen one trusts God completely. Keep shining, chosen one. Your light is changing the world. Your test wasn't just a moment in time. It was a divine forging, a process that shaped you into a vessel of God's unshakable purpose. When the storms came, you didn't just stand, you became a lighthouse, guiding others through their own darkness. Your faith wasn't loud or forceful. It was steady, quiet, rooted in a trust that no wind could uproot. That's what made your victory so profound. You didn't need to shout your strength. Your life became the proof, a silent sermon that speaks louder than words. The world might see your journey as a series of battles, but God sees it as a tapestry of triumph. Each thread, every tear, every prayer, every moment you refused to give up was woven by His hand into a story that radiates His glory. You weren't just tested, you were sculpted, carved out of the raw material of faith into someone who reflects His light in ways that dazzle the world. Your victory isn't just about what you overcame, it's about the beauty of what you've become. Think of Noah, building an ark while the world laughed. His test wasn't just the flood, it was the years of ridicule, the weight of obedience in the face of doubt. Yet he kept hammering, kept trusting, kept believing in a promise no one else could see. You're like Noah, chosen one. Your test was your ark, built board by board through faith. And now you stand on the other side, ready to sail into the new life. God has promised a life of purpose, provision, and peace. The enemy thought they could drown you in despair, But they didn't know your faith was a lifeboat. Every wave they sent to sink you only lifted you higher, closer to God's plan. You didn't fight the storm. You navigated it, trusting the one who calms the seas. That's what sets you apart. You didn't just survive the test, you mastered it, turning chaos into a canvas for God's grace. Your life is now a masterpiece, painted with the colors of His love. Your victory is a signal to the heavens. When you chose to keep going, to hold fast to God's promises, you sent a message that echoed beyond this world. The angels saw it. The enemy felt it. Your faith didn't just move mountains, it shifted the spiritual realm, aligning you with a destiny that's been written since the beginning of time. You're not just a chosen one, you're a force, a spark that ignites divine change in everything you touch. The test you passed wasn't about proving your worth, it was about revealing God's power. Every time you stood firm, you were showing the world that His strength is enough. Your life is a living scripture, a verse that says, "With God, all things are possible." You didn't just overcome, you became a walking testament to His faithfulness, a story that will inspire others to trust, to hope, to believe. Your victory is a gift, not just to you, but to everyone who sees it. Consider Ruth, who faced loss and uncertainty, yet chose to walk in faith. Her test wasn't just about survival. It was about stepping into a destiny she couldn't yet see. She didn't cling to the past. She trusted God's future. And because of that, she became part of a lineage that changed the world. Your test was like that, chosen one. Every step that you took in faith was a step toward a legacy that will outlast you, touching lives you may never meet. The enemy tried to make you doubt your calling, but you answered with trust. They tried to make you feel small, but you stood tall in God's truth. Your test wasn't just a challenge, it was a revelation showing you and the world who you really are, a child of God, chosen for greatness, destined to shine. Your victory isn't just a moment, it's a movement, a wave of hope that will carry others to their own triumphs. Your faith didn't just get you through the test, it transformed you. Every moment you chose to trust God, you were shedding the old, stepping into the new. The world might see you as the same person, but you know the truth. You're different, stronger, brighter, more aligned with God's purpose. Your test was a cocoon, and you've emerged as a butterfly, wings spread, ready to soar into the life He's prepared for you. The test wasn't about breaking you, it was about breaking through. Every obstacle was a door, every struggle a key. You didn't just pass the test, you unlocked a new season, one where God's promises are becoming reality. The world might not see it yet, but they will. Your life is about to bloom with blessings that can't be contained, a testament to what happens when a chosen one trusts God's plan over the world's chaos. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, imprisoned, forgotten. His test was long, painful, unfair. Yet every step, every betrayal, every dark night was leading him to a palace, to a purpose that saved nations. Your test was like that, chosen one. It wasn't about punishment, it was about positioning. God was placing you exactly where you needed to be, preparing you for a destiny that will change lives. The enemy thought they could silence you, but your faith was louder than their lies. Every time they tried to pull you down, you reached higher, clinging to God's truth. Your test wasn't just a hurdle. It was a launching pad, propelling you into a life of purpose and power. You didn't just pass, you soared, showing the world what happens when a chosen one refuses to give up. Your victory is a mirror, reflecting God's glory to a world that needs it. Every time you chose faith, you were polishing that mirror, making it shine brighter. Now, when people look at you, they don't just see you, they see Him. Your life is a reflection of His love, His strength, His faithfulness. You're not just a chosen one. You're a window to God's heart, showing the world what's possible when you trust Him. The test you faced was a divine invitation, not a punishment. God wasn't trying to tear you down. He was inviting you to rise up. Every challenge was a chance to grow, to deepen your faith, to step closer to the person He created you to be. You accepted that invitation, not with fear, but with courage. And now, you stand as a living proof that God's invitations always lead to glory. The world might see your test as a story of struggle, but God sees it as a story of strength. You didn't just survive, you thrived, turning pain into purpose, fear into faith. Your victory isn't just about what you overcame, it's about what you're becoming. A beacon of hope, a vessel of God's power, a chosen one whose life will inspire others to trust in Him. The enemy tried to use your test to trap you, but God used it to transform you. Every moment you chose to keep going, you were breaking free from their chains, stepping into the freedom God promised. Your test wasn't a cage. It was a chrysalis, shaping you into someone who radiates His light. Now, you're ready to fly, to show the world what a chosen one can do. Your faith turned your test into a testimony. Every time you chose to trust God, you were writing a story that will outlast you. Your victory isn't just yours. It's a gift to everyone who hears it, a spark that can light up the darkest hearts. You're not just a chosen one, you're a legacy, a living proof that God's promises are true, no matter how hard the test. The test wasn't about proving you could handle it. It was about proving God's faithfulness. Every step you took in faith was a declaration that He is enough. Your victory is a shout to the heavens, a song of praise that echoes through the spiritual realm. You didn't just pass the test, you became a hymn sung by angels, heard by the world, glorifying the one who carried you through. Think of Paul, who faced shipwrecks, imprisonment, persecution. His tests were relentless, yet he wrote, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Your test was your shipwreck, your prison, your storm. But like Paul, you found strength not in yourself, but in God. Your victory is a letter, written in faith, mailed to the world, proclaiming that His grace is sufficient. The enemy thought they could use your test to dim your light, but they only made it brighter. Every challenge was fuel for your faith. Every struggle, a chance to shine. You didn't just pass the test, you became a flame burning with God's purpose, lighting the way for others. Your life is now a fire, warming hearts, guiding souls, showing the world what God can do. Your test was a divine classroom, teaching you lessons no one else could learn. Every challenge was a question, every struggle a test of faith. You didn't just pass, you excelled, showing the world what it means to trust God completely. Now, you're graduating into a season of abundance, where every lesson you learned becomes a tool for His glory, a gift for His kingdom. The world might look at your test and see pain, but God sees power. You didn't just survive, you were empowered, equipped with a faith that moves mountains. Your victory isn't just about what you overcame, it's about what you're carrying, a strength that can't be shaken, a light that can't be dimmed. You're a chosen one, and your life is about to show the world what God can do. The enemy tried to make your test a grave, but God made it a garden. Every tear you shed was a seed, every prayer a root. Now you're blooming, chosen one, with a beauty that reflects His glory. Your test wasn't about destruction. It was about growth, preparing you for a harvest of blessings that will overflow into every area of your life. Your victory is a bridge, connecting others to God's promises. Every time you chose faith, you were building that bridge, plank by plank, with trust and obedience. Now, others can cross it, finding hope in your story, strength in your triumph. You're not just a chosen one, you're a pathway, leading others to the God who carried you through. The test wasn't about breaking you, it was about breaking ground. Every challenge was a plow, turning the soil of your heart, preparing it for God's promises. You didn't just pass, you planted a garden of faith that will bear fruit for generations. Your life is now a field, blooming with His love, His power, His purpose, ready to feed a hungry world. The enemy thought they could use your test to silence you, but God used it to amplify you. Every moment you stood firm, your voice grew louder, your light brighter. You didn't just survive the test, you became a megaphone for God's glory, a beacon for His truth. Your victory is a shout, echoing through the heavens, proclaiming that He is faithful, always. Your test was a crucible, but it didn't burn you, it purified you. Every struggle was a flame, refining your faith, strengthening your spirit. You didn't just pass, you became gold, shining with a brilliance that reflects God's heart. The world might see your scars, but God sees your radiance, a chosen one ready to step into a destiny that will change everything. The world might call your test a tragedy, but God calls it a triumph. Every challenge was a step toward glory, every struggle a chance to shine. You didn't just overcome, you became a star, burning with His light, guiding others through the night. Your victory is a constellation, mapping out God's promises for all to see, a story written in the heavens. The enemy tried to make your test a chain, but God made it a crown. Every moment you chose faith, you were forging a legacy, not just for yourself, but for everyone who will follow. You're not just a chosen one, you're royalty, crowned with His grace, destined to rule in His purpose. Your victory is a throne, a seat of honor in His kingdom, ready for you to claim. Your test wasn't about surviving, it was about thriving. Every challenge was a seed, every struggle a root. And now you're a tree, standing tall, bearing fruit for a world in need. You didn't just pass the test. You became a shelter, a source of strength, a living proof that God's love never fails. Your life is now a forest, growing in His grace, offering shade to those who seek it. The world might see your test as a battle, but God sees it as a birth. You didn't just overcome, you were born anew, shaped by His hands into someone who radiates His glory. Your victory isn't just a moment, it's a new beginning, a chance to step into a life that reflects His heart. You're a chosen one, and your story is just starting to unfold. The enemy thought they could use your test to bury you, but God used it to plant you. Every tear was a seed, every prayer a root, and now you're blooming with a beauty that can't be ignored. Your test wasn't about defeat, it was about growth, preparing you for a harvest of blessings that will overflow into every corner of your life. You're a chosen one, and the world is about to see your radiance. Your victory is a song, sung by the heavens, heard by the earth. Every time you chose faith, you added a note to that melody, a chord to that harmony. Now, your life is a symphony, proclaiming God's faithfulness to a world that needs to hear it. You didn't just pass the test, you became music, a sound that lifts hearts, inspires souls, and glorifies the one who wrote your story. Your test was a canvas, and every challenge was a stroke of God's brush, painting a masterpiece that only He could design. You didn't just endure, you became art, a living portrait of faith that draws others closer to Him. The world might see your struggles as random marks, but God sees a work of beauty, each trial a color that adds depth to your story. You passed, chosen one, not by avoiding the paint, but by trusting the artist who knew exactly what he was creating. The enemy thought they could smear your canvas with chaos, but God used every stroke to reveal His glory. Your test wasn't about destruction, it was about creation, shaping you into someone who reflects His heart in every detail. You didn't just survive the brushstrokes, you became a gallery, displaying His love, His strength, His purpose. Your life is now a masterpiece, inviting others to see what God can do through a faithful soul. Think of Abraham, called to leave everything familiar for a promise he couldn't yet see. His test was a journey through uncertainty, a path marked by trust in God's word alone. He didn't cling to comfort, he walked in faith, and God made him the father of nations. Your test was like that. Chosen one, a journey through the unknown, where every step you took in faith built a legacy that will echo through generations. The world might look at your test and see only the struggle, but God sees the foundation of a monument. Every moment you chose to trust Him, you were laying stones for a structure that will stand forever. You didn't just pass the test, you built a legacy, a testimony that will inspire others to trust, to hope, to believe. Your life is a tower, rising high, pointing to the one who never fails. The enemy tried to make your test a prison, but God turned it into a palace. Every challenge was a brick, every prayer a cornerstone, and now you stand in a place of honor, crowned with His grace. You didn't just overcome, you were elevated, lifted to a position where your life shines as a beacon of His power. You're not just a chosen one, you're royalty, destined to reign in His purpose. Your test was a river, carving a path through the hardest stone of your life. Every trial was a current, shaping you, smoothing your rough edges, guiding you toward God's plan. You didn't just cross the river, you became a stream, flowing with His love, bringing life to everyone you touch. Your victory is a waterway, nourishing hearts, refreshing souls, showing the world what God's grace can do. The world might see your test as a storm, but God sees it as a wind that carried you higher. Every gust that tried to knock you down only lifted you closer to His purpose. You didn't just weather the storm, you soared above it, wings spread, carried by His strength. Your life is now a flight, a testament to what happens when a chosen one trusts God to lift them up. The enemy thought they could drown you in the flood of your test, but God made you a vessel. Every wave was a lesson, teaching you to sail through life with faith as your compass. You didn't just survive, you navigated, charting a course that others can follow. Your victory is a map, showing the world the way to God's promises, a guide for those lost in their own storms. Your test was a seed, planted in the soil of faith, watered by your prayers. Every struggle was the earth pressing down, but you broke through, reaching for His light. You didn't just grow, you flourished, becoming a tree whose branches shelter others. Your life is now a forest, a place of refuge, a proof that God's seeds always bear fruit, no matter how hard the ground. Think of Mary, who faced a test of faith unlike any other. Chosen to carry the Savior, she bore the weight of whispers, doubts, and danger. Yet she said, "Let it be to me, according to your word." Her test wasn't just about obedience, it was about surrender, trusting God's plan over her own understanding. Your test was like that, chosen one, a call to surrender, to trust, to let God write your story. The world might see your test as a burden, but God sees it as a blessing. Every challenge was a gift, wrapped in struggle, revealing His strength in you. You didn't just pass, you unwrapped His promises, finding treasures of faith, hope, and purpose. Your life is now a gift, shared with the world, showing others what God can do through a heart that trusts Him. The enemy tried to make your test a shadow, but God turned it into a spotlight. Every trial was a beam, illuminating your faith, revealing your strength. You didn't just step out of the dark. You became a light, shining with His glory, drawing others to His truth. Your victory is a stage where your life performs a story of God's faithfulness for all to see. Your test was a forge, heating you in the fires of adversity, shaping you into a weapon of faith. Every blow was a strike from God's hammer, crafting you into someone unstoppable. You didn't just endure the heat, you became steel, strong, sharp, ready for His purpose. Your life is now a blade, cutting through doubt, fear, and lies, clearing a path for His kingdom. The world might look at your test and see only the pain, but God sees the power. Every struggle was a spark, igniting a fire in your soul that can't be quenched. You didn't just pass the test. You became a flame, burning with His purpose, warming hearts that have grown cold. Your victory is a blaze, lighting up the world, showing what God can do through a faithful heart. The enemy thought they could use your test to shatter you, but God used it to sharpen you. Every challenge was a whetstone, honing your faith, refining your spirit. You didn't just survive, you became a sword, wielded by His hand, cutting through darkness with His truth. Your life is now a weapon, a tool for His glory, a proof that no test can break a chosen one. Your test was a puzzle, each piece a challenge, each struggle a clue. You didn't just solve it, you revealed a picture of God's plan, a design that only He could create. Every piece you placed in faith completed a masterpiece, a story of His love written in your life. Your victory is a portrait, hung in the gallery of heaven, inspiring others to trust in His design. Think of Jonah, swallowed by the whale, facing a test of obedience in the belly of darkness. His trial wasn't just about survival. It was about submission, turning back to God's call. You faced your own depths, chosen one. And you didn't just escape, you emerged with a message, a purpose, a mission. Your life is now a prophecy, proclaiming His faithfulness to a world that needs to hear it. The world might see your test as a trap, but God sees it as a springboard. Every challenge was a push, launching you toward His purpose. You didn't just avoid the snare, you soared above it, lifted by His grace. Your victory is a flight, a journey that inspires others to rise, to trust, to believe. Your life is now a sky, vast and open, showing the world the heights of God's promises. The enemy tried to make your test a wall, but God turned it into a window. Every struggle was a pain, revealing His plan, letting His light shine through. You didn't just break through, you became a view, a glimpse of His glory for all to see. Your life is now a vista, a landscape of faith, inviting others to look through and see what God can do. Your test was a ladder, each rung a challenge, each step a choice to climb. You didn't just reach the top, you became a bridge, connecting others to God's promises. Every rung you climbed in faith built a path for others to follow. Your victory is a walkway, a route to His truth, a proof that no height is too great when God is lifting you. The world might see your test as a chain, but God sees it as a key. Every struggle was a turn, unlocking doors to His purpose. You didn't just break free, you became a liberator, setting others free with your story. Your life is now a gate, open wide, inviting others to walk through into His promises, His peace, His power. The enemy thought they could use your test to bind you, but God used it to release you. Every challenge was a lock, every prayer a key. And now you stand free, unshackled, ready for His plan. You didn't just escape, you became a freedom fighter, breaking chains for others with your faith. Your victory is a jailbreak, a liberation that shows the world what God's freedom looks like. Your test was a mirror, reflecting not just your struggles, but God's strength in you. Every trial was a chance to see His face, to know His heart. You didn't just pass, you became a reflection, showing the world His love, His power, His glory. Your life is now a glass, clear and bright, revealing His truth to everyone who looks. Think of Deborah, a judge and prophetess who led with wisdom in a time of chaos. Her test wasn't just about leading a battle, it was about trusting God's voice when others doubted. She didn't shrink back. She stood firm, and her faith brought victory to a nation. Your test was like that. Chosen one, a call to lead, to trust, to shine. Your life is now a banner, waving high, proclaiming His triumph. The world might see your test as a shadow, but God sees it as a sunrise. Every struggle was a moment of darkness, giving way to His light. You didn't just survive the night, you became the dawn, breaking through with His glory. Your victory is a morning, a new day that inspires others to rise, to hope, to believe in His promises. The enemy tried to make your test a cage, but God turned it into a stage. Every challenge was a spotlight, illuminating your faith, revealing your strength. You didn't just break free. You became a performer, showcasing His power for the world to see. Your life is now a theater, a place where His story unfolds, captivating hearts with His truth. Your test was a seedbed, each trial a planting, each prayer a watering. You didn't just grow, you became a harvest, bearing fruit that feeds the world. Every challenge was a chance to sow faith, to cultivate hope. Your victory is a field, ripe with His blessings, offering nourishment to those who hunger for His love. The world might see your test as a wound, but God sees it as a wellspring. Every struggle was a source, drawing you closer to His heart. You didn't just heal, you became a fountain, overflowing with His grace, refreshing souls around you. Your life is now a river, flowing with His mercy, carrying His love to a thirsty world. The enemy thought they could use your test to dry you up, but God used it to fill you. Every challenge was a vessel, holding His promises, pouring out His strength. You didn't just survive, you became a reservoir, brimming with His power, ready to overflow. Your victory is a flood, washing away doubt, bringing life to everything it touches. Your test was a cord,